Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm glad you found it one way or another. Feel free to hit that subscribe button. It'll keep you updated on all of my different projects that I'm working on. If you're already subscribed, thanks, I appreciate it. So today is going to be a bit of a welding day. Kind of starting to get burnt out on it, to be honest with you. I feel like I've been doing a lot of it. We're going to do some work on the turbo kit. I want to get all of the pre-turbo welding done, and that's the goal. As you can see, I've already got it mocked up. The pipes have been cut. Everything lines up real nice. For those who are very observant, you'll notice there's no wastegate, so that's also something we're going to work on. It's essentially just going to come straight off of here so that the airflow gets a straight shot, and then it can be dumped straight down when the wastegate opens. But we'll have good airflow. The one thing I didn't like about my last turbo kit is the placement on the wastegates was terrible. So as a result, I actually ran more boost than the wastegate spring. So I was constantly, every time I would change springs, I'd have to guess at how much boost I think it would make based off of the spring pressure. So at the time of the wreck, I think I had 15-pound springs in the wastegates, and I was making 18 pounds of boost. It would hold 18 pounds, but it was always a guessing game by how much it would overboost based off the spring pressure. So this way, with the flow corrected, I shouldn't have that problem. I should be able to put a 15-pound spring in there and make 15 pounds, which is actually what's in the wastegates right now. So that's the goal, 15 pounds on a street tune and 30 pounds on a race tune. But let's get that pipe off and we'll get it over to the bench, and then we'll start doing some welding and some cutting. Alright, so we're all set up here on the bench. Time to start doing some welding. I've got a little bit of a gap there on these two pipes, but it's a MIG welder, so it won't be an issue to fill that gap. And I'm just going to go ahead, put a few tacks just to make sure it doesn't move around as I begin welding, because then stuff won't line up if it does, and then I'll burn it in all the way. Well, one joint down, two more to go. So there you have it, some of the ugliest welding you'll ever see, but it's airtight, and that's all that really matters. So now that this pipe is all good, now we're gonna have to put the wastegate on. So luckily, the dump tube from the last car is actually gonna work out quite well. Can't touch it yet, it's still hot, but I'll put some water on it in a minute. So without even really have to doing much modification, it's gonna fit perfect. The air will come down this way from the header, and it's either going to go straight into this pipe through the wastegate, or it's going to go up into the turbo to make it spin up faster. So real good airflow, and let's get started on that. So I cut this piece shorter. Now we're going to get it lined up so I can mark it with the pen, and then I got to cut it out. But I basically want it to be as smooth as possible, so I'm going to make this level with the rest of this, and then just center it between the two. And then just draw a rough line around it. There we go. So it's this area right here that I got to cut out. And that's actually going to be fairly straightforward. So let's give that a try. So it might not be beautiful, but it's gonna get the job done. Oop, put that right there. And it's still way nicer than my last turbo setup. So this will go here. I'll weld it. There's some gaps. I'll probably beat on this with the hammer a little bit because this actually got damaged pretty good in the accident. So it's a miracle it's even shaped this well. But before I started filming, I already smashed this out. It was bent in pretty far. So I'll massage it a little bit more and then we'll get it welded on. Okay, so it's fully welded. I've got the wastegate attached. As you can see, the wastegate has been to hell and back a couple times from the accident. And I've got the header all gooped up, ready to go for the final install. I did test fit this pipe before I took the header out. It fit perfectly. Nothing moved or warped from the welding. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt that back up, and then we can check this off the list of things that need to be done. All right, and there you have it. The final product installed for the last time. Headers are all tightened down, all of the studs, silicone in place. No silicone on the V-bands. They actually have a nice little groove in them to make sure it's airtight. Everything lined up perfectly. As you can see, wastegate's nowhere near the tire, nowhere near where the body's going to be. Plenty of clearance all the way around. Did do a little mock-up on this. No clamps, obviously. So it's basically going to come up here. It'll make its way into there. So that's just a test fit. Nothing serious with that yet. I just need to bolt the turbos down completely. I mean, there's bolts in them, but it's not. It's obviously not tightened. I'll probably put a little bit of a gasket sealer in there as well. I have the oil feed line. I just have to assemble it because this one down here, although I'm sure it's not going to leak, it looks like hell. So I don't want to have it burst at some point and then I lose a turbo. So that's going to get replaced. So that side's completely done. And then thanks to the magic of video editing, boom, that side's done too. So everything pre-turbo is completely done. This side has the oil feed line from the last turbo kit. It still reaches just fine. It's going to clear this by plenty. This will eventually get wrapped. It's not a high priority. This will have to get twisted because this is touching right here, but once it's turned a little bit, that's no problem. Everything will clear. Right here is basically where my oil filter is going to sit. I'll get to work on that in the not too distant future. And then there has been some mock-up here on this. Obviously too long because when the suspension is compressed, this will hit, so it'll probably get chopped back here. This will move further towards the front. I have a 45-degree elbow on order, so this will turn, come up, and go straight in right there-ish. So that'll work out real good. One last thing, a little teaser for you guys. Air water intercooler has shown up. It's going to be a while before that gets installed because I want to get all these wires out of the way. Right now it's just a huge mess. So still plenty of work to be done, but at least we're still making progress. Hopefully I will be able to pick up my transmission oil pan. When I did install it, it leaked immediately. Even though I didn't put any oil in it, it was still leaking. So that shows you how big the hole was in that repair that was done. Because just a couple of drops dripping from the upper echelons of the transmission down in the pan, that was still found its way out through the crack. So it's back in the shop getting re-welded, and then hopefully once I get that back, it doesn't leak. I can put it on, and then we can get the car back down on the ground because I have some other stuff to do that would be nice if the car was on the ground, but I'm not a big fan of going up, down, up, down. It's irritating to me. I don't know, weird things bug me. So anyways, it's still up in the air. I'll do what I can while it's up there. I guess the next project now, I'll probably move towards wiring. Like I said, you saw that mess of wiring in there. That'll be my next priority. And one of these days I'll get around to ordering a brake light switch so I can put the brakes together. But right now I have no way to activate the brakes when you step on the pedal. So that's not going to be really good for street driving. So that's another thing I'm working on. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.